Okay, so I'm going to show you what I use for editing, and I use a thing down here called Davinci Resolve 17, which let load up. There's quite a few different things on there, so I'm just going to, there's quite a few things I still need to edit, go through what I use, how I use it, why I use it, etc, etc. So entitled project. Got this is what it looked like most of the time. This is really the area where you snip things, split, move things around, and then you can see an overview across here, the timeline, and then we'll get to the other sections in a second. We'll start with this area. Anyway, first of all we need some clips. If we go into here, what I'm going to do is I have some fishing pictures, which I can stick in it. I'll just stick these 5 in. And then now, you can see there, Davinci Resolve 17. You got the pictures up here. There you can do one at a time, put them in. So you can see here, it's the length. And then you can go across if you want. So this is, I'll go into here, which is the edit section. Bring it all the way across. You can tell us exactly how long it says. So 5 seconds. And this one may confuse you. This is like, in a way, it's showing the start point. So once it flips to 2, that means 1 hour has passed. And then it goes onwards because you've got milliseconds, seconds, minutes, hours. So we've got 5 there, 5 seconds. If we want to though, we can put multiple clips in at once. So if I grab all of these and if we start there you can see we've still got the whole overview of the timeline across there. Now I showed you the I forget what they call this area. Cut. They call it cut. That's not what comes to my head. So we got cut section. You got a few different things you can mess around with, but most of this all of this across here you have access across multiple sections like edit, fusion, etc. I mean here, boring detector, if there's anything that it thinks drags out too much, then you can take that away. And then here you've got media section, so you can go through files and stuff and add them in a different way if you want to just go through instead. Then you can, and then you can add it the same way as well as I've done here. But we're going to jump over to edit. So here I have this set up in a certain way, but most of the time you'll start off it will come up something a bit like this if you open the side. Can open this from the top, you can flick through. So you've got effects, which is what it's just in, which will be off at the start. And as it's starting to look like this. And then you can enable effects, turn off the media pool. I advise keeping the media pool and effects on though, so that you can flick through, add stuff in that you still need to add if you are at different points. And then you can mess around with your transitions and titles, text, etc. Now titles covers all the text. Now with Davinci Resolve 17 you don't have access to everything on this, although it does give you the majority with to blur things, different colours, shade things, add effects, etc, etc. It goes on. But what we're going to do is we're going to go down and you see text plus here. If we drag this over, we can add a piece of text to this. Now, at this point we've got 2 things that show a section up here, which includes video, audio, effects, transition, image and file. Which file is just basically like color coding if you want to. It's easier to match stuff up or get rid of stuff, etc. Anyway, we got this, and with text normally only you've got video available because there's no sound or anything to it, and then you got layouts, so that if I just put this a bit more sensor, if I pull this over, yeah, pull the text over, and if I do this, it'll pull it up and down, and then yeah. So this is basically more the location of it and the background. Now text, this is where you actually write your text. So you can get rid of that and put, I don't know, fishing. Then here is your font. You can add whatever font you like. Let's go for that. And then that's just like the detail of it, if it's bold or not, etc. etc. And you got the colour. And you can add any colour that you want. You can go through the whole. You can say spectrum, change the hue, saturation, all of it. So you can do quite a bit of messing around with it. So you see there, you've got fishing. Now here, you can mess around with the size. You can also mess around with that with the layout if you'd like, but I prefer to use text section because then it's more my, you could say, process. So I can make it, say, that size. And then the tracking of it, the spacing. Just do that if you want. Line spacing. This doesn't really do much, just slight detail really. But then everything else I've never really needed. But you can change the direction it faces, how it does. Advanced controls, that's just more detail, the font. So now if we jump back over to the layout, we can go back through. As I said, this is the section for the spacing, well, where it is specifically in the page. Then we've got transform. This is whether it's sectioned up in words of how the spacing is, if it's just letters, how it's like actually probably laid out. Then again, as I said, you can mess around with the size different ways. So if you go back to this will stretch it up and down, well, side to side, sorry. Then stretch it up and down. There you go. And we've got shear. So basically all the basic stuff, but this is the areas you'd find most of this to go through. But if we go down to video, well, the actual pictures, so you've got video on video 2 that we've got. You can zoom in and out using this, and then the position of where the picture is in the actual page, so that you can go in and then mess around with it in whatever areas you'd like. Just do this, just zoom right in on my face. Don't seem very impressed, but yeah. So you can mess around quite a bit with this, and then you can also mess around with speed. Sadly, it won't allow us to access this as it's not as long as you could say a project, well, section, because otherwise you're not going to really get anything anyway, so that's why it's really the choice of it. You can also add in ways to quickly get about, but if it was a video, you would be able to mess around with speed. How, when I say speed, I mean all the way up to like 10 times speed. It's all by percentage though, so it starts at 100%. You can mess around each way. You can slow it down. You can make it so it goes backwards. You can do all sorts. You can make it so it freezes. More. Anyway, it also gives you audio tracks down here. So you got mute track. So you mute your track. All other stuff if you do have anything for that, but we don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a track underneath, and we're going to go on to how to use the mic. and we're gonna create mono. Yeah. Somewhere here. I should just rename it. I'll rename it once I'm back in there. But anyway, if you want to do stuff with your audio, change it around or add audio, like I'm about to, with audio 2, then what you need to do is jump over to Fairlight. And once we're in here, it'll look a bit like this. And we're going to have to add input like this. And we could add it over. Watch for this. Hopefully you can still hear me. Now, hello, hello, hello. Do 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 do. Okay. So now, if I go back through, let's just stop that for a second, and I play that. Do 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 do. It's very quiet. I don't know if that's me. Just to make sure my volume's up. Very strange. Don't know. It's not usual. But I'm going to turn this up here. So now it should come through better. Do 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 do. There you go. It's a lot easier to hear now. That's what I just basically said. So we got this lovely track. Which now, if I go back to this, you should also be able to hear it. Do 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 do. There you go. And then if you go back into this, as we're here, you're going to want to know. You see stuff with meters. Shows us what the actual picture's showing at times. So you can see it's changing. But then the actual scales of it and everything here as well. The only thing to remember is it will cut off this at any time. Just keep clicking that. You can add on your microphones and stuff. Across here, and then you'll be able to add more anyway, by right clicking down the sides. Or you can always do it in your actual tracks. Like this, add track. Be 5.1, so it's surround sound. You can do all different stuff, stereo, all sorts. But what you're going to do is, now I've shown you this, it's very simple. What you're going to want to know is how to add transitions and stuff like that. So, transitions are very simple. I mean, it basically links back to text. Audio transitions, video transitions. Now the most popular ones I normally use is either blur, which is actually less common for me, or the cross dissolve. Cross dissolve is more for me. You can drag that over and place that where you like. Or if you'd like, you can always go through the settings and add hotkeys and stuff like I have, which then I can add this way different frames. But for now, I'm going to use this to show you guys. So add that, and then if you click on that, you can still change the frames of it. And the seconds link into that. Then sort of video, and how much it basically curves through. So now it's like this. This for the text. So do 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 do. See? And yeah, I mean that's the basics of this. It's not the greatest way, I don't think, but I think it's the easiest way to explain it. So yeah, basics of Davinci Resolve 17. So before I do end this off, if you go to File, you can save the project here, and Davinci Resolve you can change where stuff goes to, and how to save it, like into your folders or files, is through this. You go to custom if you just want your files, you add in your file name, you browse for wherever you want it, add it in, then you add in the resolutions if you want it 4K for example, frame rate, maybe you want it 30 frames per second because of the video, and then you add that to it. Or you can always send it to YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, and all these other locations, and you can add more, I know of. But with any of these, you always add it to your files at the same time with these separate sections for your rendering. So I think that's going to be it. So that wasn't too bad. It's a basic tutorial, quick. I thought some people might be interested, so I'll do this. But then I will do another video in a second just to do with how to do blurring simplified on Davinci Resolve 17. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.